Let me share the screen. After that, you all will be able to see the things more properly. And in the previous class, we studied a new, the fourth point of the session, which was how we can open the lesson and how we can send the lesson to our students. And we also divide that point, the point number 4, which was how the point number 5, like how we can make and send the lesson to the students. So in the previous class, we just discussed some part of that, and today, inshallah, we'll complete that point, like how we can make how we can make and send the lesson to the students. And the first category was for the beginners, and the second category was for the seniors. So there are different ways that we can open the lesson for the students. And for the beginners, I told all of you that the one thing is very very important, which we have to do. For the beginners, we have to open the lesson in the paint, because after that we can do different kinds of activity for them, and we can make the lesson easier for them. And also, inshallah, we'll also try to cover that 6 point, how we can engage the students with the lesson in the today's session. So inshallah, in the today's session, we will try to cover these 2 points. The first one is how we can send the lesson, and how we can open the lesson, and how we can send the lesson to the students. One is for the beginners, and the second is for the seniors, and how we can engage the students with the lesson. So now we're going to start that point, how we can open and send the lesson to to our students. Okay, is some part of that we discussed in the previous class. For the beginners, we just need to go on to into any file, like any file, the qaida, or the the any kalimat lesson, or any file which we want to teach to our student. So we just need to go on that file. After that, we have to click on that page, the right click on that page, any lesson which you want to teach to our student on that day. After that, we just need to click right on that page, and after that, you will see the option open with, click on that. Further, you have to click on the paint option, and now the desired page is open in the paint. And now we can do different kind of activities according to the student capabilities and according to the requirement. Once we discuss that, like once we open the page in the paint, after that we can make the size of the page bigger or smaller. We can adjust the size by using these two options, which you can see at the bottom of the right side, the zoom in and zoom out option here. We can adjust the size of the page, the bigger or the smaller. After that, we can move the page like up and down, or right or left, with the help of these two slides here. So for first thing that is that we have to open the lesson in the paint. After that, by using this zoom in and zoom out option, we can magnify the lesson. After that, for the movement of the page, we can use these two slides. So that's the first way for the kids who can recite more lesson in one day. And after that, we can draw any kind of shape from here. For that, we just need to click on that shape, and then draw the shape around the letter. And also we can move the letter, which we discussed in more detail in the previous class. I just revise a bit for the more revision. And the second way for in which way we can open the lesson for the very beginners, we also discuss some part of that. I'm just going to explain that part again from the beginning. So once we open the page in the paint, the first thing which we have to do is we have to make all the screen white. For that, you just need to put the cursor on that edge. You can see here a small the rectangle, I meant to say the square shape here. And for that, you just need to put the cursor on that shape, click on it, and then drag. In that way, we will be able to make all the screen white. In the yesterday's class, I told you that I will discuss that point. If we don't do that thing, if we miss that step, so just see, if I want to make, I just click the select button, and now I want to make the letters which I want. I'm just going to select the letters which I want to make magnify. So here I just put the cursor in the same way which we discussed in detail in the yesterday's class. I put the cursor on the edge. I just click on it. I'm now holding on it. Now I'm going to drag. But you can see now we can't see the entire, the all the letters, just because of that mistake. Like we have to make all the screen white. After that, we will be able to see all the letters which we are going to magnify on the screen. For that, the first step is very important, which is we, after opening the page, after opening the lesson in the paint, we have to make all the screen white. For that, we just need to put the cursor on that shape. Okay, after that we just need to click on it, hold on it, and then drag. After that you will be able to make all the screen white. After that we also discussed that for that to magnifying the letter, we just need to click on that select option at the top of the left side, click on it, and you can magnify any, any number of letters which you want to magnify. Today I want to magnify the entire row, the first row, and I just select in the entire row with the same with the same steps I can magnify all the letters, and as much as I can magnify by putting the cursor any edges, any of the 8 edges. So here I can magnify all the letters. So in the same way, you can magnify the 2 letters as we did in the yesterday's class. You can magnify the 3 letters. You can magnify the 4 letters according to the according to the requirement. And for to make it more easier, to make it more clear further, sometimes, as I also discussed that thing before, sometimes the student becomes confused like which letter we are reading basically. So to make it more clear, we just need to put any of these shapes from here, and we can adjust the size of the shapes by using the size option and any of the color from here. And then we have to draw that shape around these letters, and again by the same thing, by putting the cursor inside the circle, we can just click on it, hold on it. After that we will be able to move the circle with the letters here. So that's the way. These are the 2 ways to open the lesson for the beginners. The first method was for the beginners who can recite more lesson in one day, and the second method was for the beginners. The second method is for the beginners who can recite but not much more letters, like sometimes the 2 letters, sometimes the 3 letters in a day. So for them, and also very very small, they want that we have to magnify the lesson more clear for them. For these students, we have to open the lesson in that way. So these are the 2 ways. For By using these 2 ways, we can open the lesson for the kids in the paint. And now the thing is how, and also the one more thing which is very very important, I am just going to mention here again. For the beginners and also for any student, don't teach them direct. First we have to engage them with the lesson. And how we can engage them with the lesson? By asking any kind of question. Can you see the letters? Can you tell me about the shape of the letter? Anything we can ask them just to engage them with the lesson. After that we have to explain the lesson, and then we have to start the lesson. We have to start the lesson, and we have to make the repetition until the student know the letters more properly. So that's the proper way to teach any lesson to your student, because in that way the student when the student will be engaged in the lesson, when we explain the things properly, when the student understand the things properly, then in that way we can develop more interest into our students to know the things, to know the new things. And in that way the student will be able to understand and able to learn more things in that way. So that's the proper way. Rather we have to teach them, the first one is alif, the second one is ba, the third one is ta, or the next one is ta. Just we have to make the repetition, because that in the next lesson we're going to read the different shapes of that the all these letters. Sometimes they have shapes. So if the in the first lesson, if the student know about all these letters properly, about their shapes, if the student is able to recognize the letters, if is written in any form, like just because of the dots, if the student is able to recognize the letters by herself or by himself, so it will be easier for us as well, because when we include the next lesson, the student will be able to understand the new things more properly whenever whenever the student had a command on the previous things. So these are the 2 ways to open the lesson in the paint. Now the next thing is how we can these are the 2 ways to open the lesson in the paint. And now the thing is how we can send the lesson to our students in the chat box. No, it could be the chat box of the Zoom app. It could be the chat box of the Skype app. Okay, so here we so here we for that it's very very simple step. We have to follow the same steps, and we can send the lesson to our students into the Skype app or into the Zoom app. For that we just need to click on the select option, and there are the 2 ways. We can also mark the simplest way is you can just suppose that if you just if you just end the lesson on that day, just pause on till the letter ain and a wine, you can mark on that you can, by clicking by selecting any of these shapes, you can mark here, you can draw the triangular, I mean to say the rectangular shapes around the letters, you can mark like that. After that, you just need to click on the select option, select the entire page, and the procedure to select anything is same. You just need to put the cursor from that the point from where you want to select, click on it and hold on it and then drag. In that way you can select any part, the small part, the big part, or the entire part which you want to select. Once you select, now click on the page, click right on the page, basically inside the shape. After that, you will see the copy option, click on that option, and now you can see here the apps, the Zoom app or the Skype app at the bottom here. So you can go any of the app which you are using on, you have to use on that time, just go on that app. After that, you can see here, you can send that lesson, you can paste that lesson in the chat box here. Click right on it, you will see the option, paste option, then paste that lesson to your student, and after that click on that. Now the lesson is sent in to your student into the chat box. The benefit of sending lesson in the chat box is that, sometimes the students take the classes 2 times in a week, 1 times in a week, or after many days. So also we are not teaching one or two students in one day. We are teaching many students, multiple students, in one day or in a week. So we also unable to remember, like on that day, which student we have to start from, no, from which words or from which letter. So once we click on the chat box, now we can see here in the chat box, just pause that. Here I send the lesson to my the to my to my older student here, like that one. So once I click on it, it's, you can say it's the 7th September. I sent it on 7th September. Just pause that the student took a break after that, and now the student is going to continue classes now. Now I can't remember from where we have to start, but I sent the lesson to my student in the chat box. So once I can see the lesson in the chat box, now I can see like from where we have to start the lesson from today. So it's also, you can see, it's the page number 17, and the words are here. We can see the words are here, and it's from the page number 17. So I just need to go on my file. I have to open the page number 17, and these words I have to magnify for my student. So, and also if the student want to practice the lesson, if the parents want to check, like which letter, which things my kid is, my kid is learning. So it's good for the kids, to say for the students and for us, whenever after sending the lesson in the chat box, it's more convenient for us and for our students. So that's the very simple way which I just before, by marking the lesson where we end the class on, on that specific day. The second thing is the same here. Just suppose that the student is very beginner. For them, we also have to, we try to make the lesson more interesting for them by filling the colors, by making the lesson more bigger. After that, they will be able to see the things more properly. So for that, we just need to click on that select option. And I just suppose that if I want to select these two letters, seen and sheen, to my student, I just need to select these two options. After that, again, I just need to I want to copy these two letters, seen and sheen. Click right on inside the shape, click right on that shape. After that, you will see the copy option, and here again at the top of the left side, you will see the paste option. And now once it's you paste the letters, the desired letters which you want to magnify. So now by putting the cursor inside the shape, we can move the letters. And again, by putting the cursor any of these edges, then hold on it and then drag. After that, we will be able to magnify the letters here. Okay, and then we can draw any of the shape, if just if you want to draw. So I just magnify these two letters, just to just to make it more clear. These two letters are the new letters for the kids. So sometimes the student also trying to practice the new letters before 5 minutes or before the 10 minutes. Whenever they log in into their their app, they are just trying to memorize the lesson. So it's also becomes easier for them to memorize the new letters once they open the lesson from the chat box. So after that, we can fill the color in the background by choosing any color from here, by selecting that option, color fill, that one. filled with color, and we can fill the color in the background again. In that way, for the way beginners, the students who we have to teach the lesson number one, or the first or two lessons, for them we can make the lesson in that way, which is more good for them. Okay, so because in that way it becomes more interesting for them to see the letters, and once they see the letters, they also becomes curious about their names. So it could it could help them to to learn the to learn the lesson in with the more interest, and also it could develop more interest to them to learn these new letters. So after that, again, I want to select the entire thing. For that, we just need to click on that select option. After that, click on the point from where you want to select. I want to select the entire thing, so I hold cursor on here, and then I put the cursor here and hold on it, click on it, hold on it, and then drag. After that, we'll be able to we will able to select the entire thing. Now again, I'm going to say click right on inside the shape. After that, you will see the copy option. Now we copy all that thing, and you can paste anywhere you want. And here again, you send that lesson to your student in the in the chat box of the Skype, or in the chat box of the Zoom. The thing, both the for both apps, the the ways are same. These are the two ways how we can open the lesson for the way beginners, and how we can send them the lesson in the chat box. So that's all about for the way beginners, the kids who are way beginners. For them, we can open the lesson in these two ways. Inshallah, we'll discuss for the students who are seniors. For them, it's very easy to open the lesson and to send the lesson to them in the chat box. Some mostly part is the same. Now the thing is how we have to teach them before going to start the lesson, which things we have to keep in our mind. So as I discussed before, that thing is very important. Before going to start any new lesson, we have to explain all the things before going to start any any new letter. First, we have to engage them with the lesson, and the point, the way is simple. How we can engage them with the lesson? By asking them some questions. Any question we can ask ask to them, just to engage them with the lesson. After that, we have to explain all the things, and then we have to start the lesson. So similarly, as we discussed in more detail in the previous class, how we can explain all the things. So I just want to explain some of them again. Just to make it more clear, just for the revision. So as we discussed for alif, for ba, and for ta, and for thas, collectively, if you're gonna make the revision for that, to explain more properly, so we can explain more. Like, can you see all the letters having this the same shape? That one, if I remove all the dots from all these three letters, all having the same shape. So what's the difference? If the student reply, correct, that it will be great. But if don't, then we have to explain all the things. So you have to remember these all these three friends. We can call them friends because all having the same shape. Only their dots are different. So the first letter who have a smiley face with one dot below, it will be ba. The name of that beautiful letter is ba. And then we have to make the repetition until the student know the thing more properly, which we discussed in detail before. And similarly, the second letter, the next one having a smiley face but with two dots up, that one is ta. And the third one who have the three dots up, having the same shape but having three dots up, it's the name of that beautiful letter is ta. And then you have to make the repetition, and you have to teach them properly. Like, I'm just here explaining the things which are important, but you have to teach them properly. Like ba, ba. We also have to stretch the letter for 1 second. And here you can also explain, do you know how we can count 1 second? So if we can count 1 second, just close all the fingers of your hand, and now open any one finger of your hand, not very quick and not very slow. Open your any one finger of your hand, and gradually, not very quick, not very slow. So that time period is considered as 1 second. So we have to stretch these three friends, ba, ta, and then tha. we have to stretch all these three letters for 1 second. So similarly, we can include different things. It also depends upon the capability of the student. If the student is able to understand all these things quick, so we can explain two things in a 1 day. But if the student don't, so we can include all these things gradually with the time, in the next class, or the next, in the after two or next three classes. So we can include the things gradually, all the things depending upon the capabilities of the student. Similarly, for the jim, ha, and ha, we have to explain the same thing. Can you see the next three letters having the same shape? Because we have to teach them only one letter, as we discussed in the previous letter. First we have to teach them jim, and then ha, then ha, as we discussed before in detail. Now I'm including some more points here, so we can include them, like, can you see, like the previous three friends, there are again three friends again. So words, if, for gym, you can explain. First, you have to explain the shape. So can you see that letter having a head, also having a round tummy? Can you see the next letter having a head and also a round tummy? And how many dots are here in its tummy? So in that way, by asking the question, you can engage them, the student, and after that, make the repetition of the letter. Similarly, you can explain the letter ba and ta and ta. That one is again same like gym, but having no dot, and ha like same jim and ha with like its friend, its friend, but having one dot up, one dot on its head. Jim having one dot in its tummy, ha having no dot, ho having one dot on its head. So also, like, basic thing is, the basic point, you can say, the sum of all that is, first we have to engage them with the lesson by asking any kind of question, then we have to explain the thing. We can explain any, in any way. We can resemble the thing with other things, which which can make the things more easier for them to understand, to remember, to memorize the letters. And after that, we have to make the repetition. So these are the three simple steps we have to follow to to teach the lesson properly to our students. So after that, in the first lesson, we can make the we can make the target, that in the first lesson we have to develop the way, the correct pronunciation for of the very simple letters, the six letters which we have to pronounce from throat, I mean to say ha, ho, ha, then ain, ghain, and hamza. So these are the very simple letters. So in the first lesson, we can make the target for the kids who are very small, who are very small. For them, we can make the target, in the first lesson, we have to develop the correct pronunciation for these letters first. Mostly are very simple to pronounce, but the letters who require more more practice for the correct pronunciation, for them, we can make the target for the three letters. We can make the target for the six letters. Again, depend upon the capabilities of the students, we can include the whole thing in one class. We can include the in two classes, in three classes, in four classes, the entire things. It depend upon the capabilities of the different students. So we in the first lesson, normally it's very easy for the kids to know about these six pronunciation. Like, we have for ha, we have to put the stress on the middle part of throat, a very lighter sound. Say with me, ha, a very lighter sound. And like the letter ba, ta, tha, we also have to stretch it for 1 second. And you can ask to to your student, can you tell me how we can count 1 second? Not in 1 day, like once you explain, then in the second day you can ask, after 2 days you can ask, just for the revision, just for the practice, you can ask anytime. And similarly, for the next letter kha, you can explain that one is a bold letter which we have to pronounce from the upper part of throat. And like the letter ha, we also have to stretch that letter kha for 1 second. And similarly for ha, similarly for ain, for ghain, for hamza, we have to explain. We have to we have to explain from where we have to pronounce. And like also we have to make the practice. We have to make the repetition until the student know all these things properly. So these all points are the very basic points which we have to follow to include any new lesson in our classes. So similarly for the next lesson, as we if you are going to start the new lesson, again for the new lesson, you have to open in the same way. You just need to click right on your page, your desired page. After that, you have to go on open with option, and then you will see the paint option. Open the lesson in the paint. And similarly, before going to start the new lesson, the first thing which we have to do is we have to engage the student with the lesson. After that, we, by asking some questions, any one or any two questions. After that, we have to explain about the lesson, like which thing is new in that lesson which we are going to learn, which we are going to practice, and then start the lesson. So like, just we are going to start the second lesson today. For that, I have to, how I can engage the student with the lesson. So I can ask a question to make, to develop more interest, to make the lesson more interesting for my student. I can ask, today we're going to start a new lesson, lesson number 2. So are you excited to start a new lesson? And also, we can do, like, we can do these kind of things, we can use these kind of sentences to engage the students with the lesson. And after that, we can explain, like in that lesson, in the lesson number 2, we are going to know about the different shapes of the letters, also the half shapes of the letters, of all the letters which we read in the previous lesson. So you have to explain that in the in the new lesson, lesson number 2, we are going to we are going to learn about the new letters, the different shapes of the letters, of all the letters which we read in the previous lesson, and also the half shapes of the lesson. So also you can ask the question before going to start the new lesson. You can ask the question like, do you find the previous lesson interesting? Or if you teach any lesson in the previous day, so you can ask them, do you find the yesterday's lesson interesting? Or you can ask anything to them, just to engage them with the lesson. So basically, for engaging them with the lesson, we have to ask them any question, and after that we have to explain the thing, and then we have to start the lesson. The first letter is very, very easy, you can easily teach them. That one is alif, a straight line. After that, the next letter, that is a combination. You can ask your student, can you see, these are the two letters joined together. So do you know what's the name of that letter? If the student if the student reply properly, that's fine. If the student is not know what's the letter, so for that, first we have to separate both the letters. For that, you just need to click on the select option. So select any letter which you want to separate. Here you want to separate the letter alif from lam. So you can make both the letters separate. After that, you can ask the student, now can you recognize whose letter beginning shape, or we can see the half shape of the letter. If the student will again know that letter, if the student is able to recognize that letter, that's great. After that, you can draw the entire shape of the letter lamb by using that option here, the brushes option. And you can select any of the color. So you can draw the entire shape of the letter lamb here. Then you can ask to your student, do you know what's the name of that letter? Okay, normally actually there is other way which is quite maybe difficult for you. So I'm just cropping from the previous lesson, from the lesson number 1, which is more good. So here I'm just trying to draw lamb again. Okay, so now you can ask your student, can you tell me what's the name of that letter? Of course, the student know about the name of that Islam. So after that, you can ask to your student, if I remove the ending shape of that letter, so can you tell me, are both shapes same or not? Yes, both the shapes are same, both having a straight line and also having a small shape at the bottom left. So that one is a beginning shape, or you can say the half shape of the letter lam. So if there is any kind of, if there is any kind of letter having a straight line and also having a small shape at the bottom left, it will be lam. It will be lam. So we have to make the repetition of the letters again until the student know properly. And you know that, as we discussed before in more detail, how we have to make the repetition. Say with me 3 times, say by yourself 3 times. Can you say 2 times more properly by yourself, please, in a bit louder voice, a bit, a more good voice. So in that way we can make the repetition. And after that, we can start, we can make the repetition again. That one is lam, and that is a straight line alif. So in that way, and also the other way which I am doing is, I'm just going the previous lesson, lesson number 1. I'm just cropping from the the letter which we read in the previous lesson. So for that, you just need to, you can also go in the first lesson, lesson number 1, where you teach all the entire shapes of the letter, and then you can crop. After that, it becomes more easier for the student to recognize. You can again select the shape, you can copy the shape, go on that page, and you can paste that shape here. on the top of the other shape. And then you can ask to your student, can you see both the shapes are same? And then you can explain that one is the beginning shape of the letter lam, and the other one is a straight line, which is, you know very well, it's alif. So both the letters are lam alif lam alif. So after that you can make the repetition again until the student get the command on these two letters. Similarly, for any letter you have to do the same things. You can write here at the top of the word. If the student is able to understand that one, if the student is find difficult to, to recognize the letter by here by writing the letter at the top, then you, for that you can go on the first page. Then you can crop the shape, and you can, you can paste at the exact at the front of that letter, which is, which is the half shape of the previous letters. And then you can ask to your student. The same thing is here. Before going to start the new lesson, we have to do the same thing. Now the meeting is going to end because it's 40 minutes is going to complete. I'm just going to end the class. After that you all have to join again.